I said before, for me, autonomy is like a song that's singing in the air, and nobody cannot capture the sound. Everybody would like to have autonomy on the Atlantic coast because we would live much more better. The population of the Atlantic coast would maybe survive much more better. And if we get hold of our riches, it's a problem for the central government. So they keep us just with the sound of the song, that every year we're going to give the reglamentación de autonomía and never. So to say nothing to us autonomy.
If you wanna live, treat me good. If you wanna live, I beg you treat me good. I'm like a walking razor, don't you watch my size, I'm dangerous. Said I'm dangerous, I'm like a walking razor.
To understand the history of autonomy of the Caribbean coast of Nicaragua, it is important to know that this is a struggle that started very long ago. In 1523, the Spaniards conquered the Pacific, whilst the English set up a protectorate on the Mosquito Coast in 1655 that lasted until 1860. The main issue was always who would control the maritime passage between the Atlantic and the Pacific, that is to say, the canal. In the end, the English abandoned the project and left the indigenous communities on their own to face the government of Managua. In 1860, the indigenous people signed the Managua Treaty, in which the government of Managua recognized their ancestral rights to their land. But in 1894, the then president, José Santos Zelaya, annexed the whole of the Caribbean coast by force and imposed Spanish as the official language, and this part of the country later became known as the Department of Celaya. Since then, the central government of Managua has never given much importance to the Caribbean coast of Nicaragua, and it has been seen as a land to plunder without giving much thought to its inhabitants, its cultures, ways of living, or even human rights. This region encompasses 46% of the national territory. It only has 15% of the total population of Nicaragua and about 80% of the most precious natural resources. It is definitely a very rich area. Here live 6 different ethnic groups: the Miskito, the Sumo Mayagna, Creoles, Garífunas, Ramas, and the Mestizos, who are the descendants from the Indians and the Spaniards, who have now migrated from the Pacific and whose presence here is more obvious every day. Due to this colonization from the Pacific, the social composition of the Caribbean coast is changing rapidly and sometimes leads to armed conflicts, especially where the natural resources and land rights are concerned. It wasn't until 1987 that the Sandinista government approved the autonomy law of the Caribbean coast of Nicaragua, and many consider it a very advanced law of international order. However, it wasn't regulated until 2003, and therefore could not be enforced.
Es un hecho, es un precedente no solo importante para Nicaragua, sino importante para los pueblos indígenas en todo el mundo. Primero porque la sentencia de Aguastigny reconoce el derecho ancestral. ¿Qué quiere decir? Que con o sin título, el derecho territorial de los pueblos indígenas está reconocido.
During the period between 1987 and 2002, autonomy didn't really advance very much in practice, though there were some notable exceptions, such as the lawsuit that the Sumo Mayagna indigenous community won against the state of Nicaragua. This was the first time that an indigenous community ever won a court case of this nature in the Inter-American Court of Justice. The conflict arose because the state of Nicaragua gave logging concessions to a foreign business without consulting with the community.
Porque nunca en nuestra vida los mayagnas hemos tenido como esta oportunidad de ir al juicio y después sacar una sentencia. Sí, es decir que tenemos un derecho pleno para reclamar cualquier caso por nuestra tierra.
Territorial demarcation is a very sensitive issue for the central government and the indigenous communities alike. There are diametrically opposed views on this subject, and some don't even recognize the state of Nicaragua. Others try to reach a consensus, which is very difficult.
Nicaragua nos ha destruido y las leyes y el convenio que se hizo con Nicaragua no lo ha cumplido. Al no cumplirse ese tratado con nosotros tenemos todo el derecho para disolver ese tratado. Y eso es lo que ha hecho el Consejo de Ancianos. Por lo tanto, en estos momentos, este es un territorio bajo soberanía indígena.
Porque en el mundo tenemos ejemplos de lo que ocurre cuando las nacionalidades dentro de un territorio no se entienden qué es lo que ocurre. Realmente nosotros no nos sentimos y a la larga no queremos estar en este estado de que hemos hablado hoy y que nunca en la historia no ha tomado en cuenta.
Yo creo que en principio aquí se debe de definir que todo el pueblo, todas las que son las tierras, ponerle que fueron incorporadas a Nicaragua, son tierras indígenas. Ahí debe ser el punto de partida. Aquí hay una serie de conflictos y mi preocupación es que si no manejamos esto de manera correcta, puede surgir un conflicto étnico, interétnico.
Algunos tienen la visión de que esas tierras son mías, pero hasta allá, hasta donde el ojo da, y no es así. O sea, lo que ellos han conservado tradicionalmente como tierras de ellos, pues es lo que se va a reconocer. Lo que estamos evitando en todo caso es que ellos entren en conflicto.
Now, 20 years after the autonomy law was passed, the main questions are, what rights do the Coast people really have? What are the most pressing problems they have to solve to make autonomy move forward? Do young people know this law and the rights? Are they capable of leading this process?
Don't watch that. Big fish are spreading. You reap what you...
What do you think anything has changed for the Coast people?
Not at all. It hasn't changed because during the lapse of the 20 years to what we are now, it have been different governments, and no government is interested in changing to have we as Coast people have our own autonomy. And why? Because they really feel that if Coast people get their autonomy, it will like cut off some of the benefits what the Coast afford to the national economy.
I believe that still yet the state hasn't decided what type of autonomy they want to give to the people of the Coast, because there isn't economical autonomy, and I'm still not sure there is a cultural autonomy. I don't know what type of autonomy we are talking about when it comes into the Caribbean coast.
Está escrito en los papeles, ¿verdad?, de que la autonomía tiene que ser así, tiene que ser así, tiene que ser otro, pero en la realidad o en la práctica falta mucho. Queremos manejar, ¿verdad?, nuestros propios recursos naturales que tenemos. Somos costeños, somos indígenas, somos ricos en recursos naturales, pero en la práctica no lo tenemos, pero somos muy pobres. Los últimos somos nosotros.
In this part of the country, unemployment is about 80%. Poverty levels are enormously high, even though the natural resources are abundant. For indigenous people, the colonization from the Pacific and the ever-encroaching agricultural frontier is a very serious problem. The central government, however, would rather ignore this and keep on exploiting the natural resources of the coast. This situation is explosive and has led the indigenous communities to take the law into their own hands at times.
You know, the central government still want to manipulate us and administrate our resources, which it shouldn't be that way. Since we have this law, this autonomy law, which means self-govern, they should give us our right to administrate what is ours. And we somehow, whenever these people are coming down with our timbers, we know that they took it out from our areas. So then we go and we confiscate them. And we bring them to our community and we say, enough for you all, come and take this away from us because this is ours. We don't permit them to do it. We don't permit them to do it. We take it and we sell it and we do what we're supposed to do inside our community.
And it's sad to know that, well, up to the days where the Spaniard doesn't respect the law autonomia, they don't respect the 445. Daily by daily, they're coming in, taking our land, and not for nothing, just to negotiate, measure it, after they sell it and they gone. And they come also with the intention to pressure us, showing arms that if you want your, if you want to live, you know what they say? Bullet cheap. Bullet cheap. Yeah. So we would done it with the Indian them. So we demand to the different institutions, international and government, that could take out this responsibility to demark our land. And with this land, we could show that we punish them that way. We get land to them to work with us, because the idea for 445 not to chase the native them, Spaniard native, but now the people who live in who like to live in under the system of the Indian. The idea is to combine work together and develop our way of living by using the land. The idea is not to chase no Spaniard, but they have to abide under our laws of autonomy and laws of the Indian right.
The problem with the indigenous coast people is not only the mestizo colonizers who come to take away their land, but also what they believe to be an excessive politicization of ethnic affairs. The politicians of the coast and Managua are the ones who hinder the autonomy process the most.
I think the biggest problem right now is having a new majority that is completely alien to the process. You have a lot of, especially mestizo people who don't know what autonomy, the one in the Consejo Regional, they never know the history of the Caribbean coast, because there are people who recently here. And I must say that some of our people who from the coast living in there, very little prepare, know hardly anything about their own history, because even in school, history is still yet prohibited for us, even though if it's not written anyway, it's not part of our curriculum. So we're still not learning about ourselves. So if you don't know about yourself, which right you will claim? So I think we don't have autonomy, and I'm not sure if we will ever have autonomy the way things working with the central government and the regional government. I would think that if the people of the Caribbean coast want to have autonomy, we have to start thinking about empowering ourselves as a people, economically, not just socially, because most of the empowerment we talk about social empowerment, but we have to do economical empowerment too, so we could really determine how we want to run politics on the coast and how we want to run the economy on the coast.
First thing we are doing that we have to do is know our rights. That has been, autonomy was issued, but it was not promoted. So how could you defend what you don't know about? How could you talk about something that you really don't know what it means? What it means to us, it means self-government. That is something you hear all over the place. But what it really is just a piece of paper. It's just a law. But the important thing here is that we have the law. That is the important thing. We have a law that grants us a right. Some people try to attribute this autonomy to political parties or whatever. This is a struggle. We had many losses. We had a war in this country. And we lost on both sides. So let's get together. Let's forget about all the political differences. Autonomy is unity. Without unity, we are nothing. So we have to know that autonomy is our only way to integration.
Today, the future of the autonomy is in the hands of the new generation of coast people. And if they are to push it forward, they must know their rights in order to keep on fighting until they reach them.